discussion and see where this goes. So, I like to put this up at the beginning, just to remind people what our research portfolio is. And this was just a sense of humor. I put that up there. I was thinking David Vandenbaum, not to be here. We've shrunk by one research area. But anyway, this is just off the top of my head. The list could be broader, right? But the point is that we have an incredible range of things that fall under our purview as molecular biosciences. That's not, but just that is reality, right? So we're responsible for this, both with respect to our educational mission and our research mission. This is us, all of us. We can't be world leaders on all of these areas. We'll come back to it. Anyway, so before I start, I want to thank so much Karen Browning and Andreas for everything they've done this year to make things work better in the department. They've played a huge role in, if things are working a little bit better, you can thank them in large part. Okay, the vision thing. I think, what better place to start in thinking about vision than to go to Dr. Seuss himself. So this is the first page of If I Ran the Zoo, right? And in this case, this is the chair candidate. And this is an amalgam of all previous chairs, interim chairs, former and current deans, provosts, whatever. So it's a pretty good zoo, said young Gerald McGrew, and the fellow who runs it seems proud of it. But if I ran, said young Gerald McGrew, I'd make a few changes, that's just what I do. So we'll talk about it. Maybe those changes that are happening, what we can still, how we can change things to make things better. Now, I know this is a very literate audience, so you all know what the next line is. This is not what we're going to do, but I thought just to show you what's within the realm of possibility. So I open each cage, I lock up your pen, let the animals go, and start over again. You probably can't do that, but sometimes we want to do that. Okay, so let's do the boring kind of standard stuff. This is what you might call a mission statement, why we exist for molecular bioscience. It's pretty clear. To serve as the hub for molecular biology research and undergraduate and graduate education on the UT Austin campus. That's why we're here, that's what we got to do. Pretty straightforward. And this is some version of what we saw in this previous TransBio vision statement from a year and a half ago. I've followed it a little bit here. And this is really what we want to be, an internationally prominent department that facilitates interdisciplinary interactions, access to emerging technologies, innovative teaching and training opportunities, and serves as the foundation for molecular biomedical research at UT Austin and development. That's what we want. That's what we want to be. Okay, so just to go through a thing, I think it's important to think about this too. What are the things that we value as a department? And in terms of our educational mission, it's worth stating these simple things. We value excellence in our undergraduate education missions, covering these now 6 different undergraduate majors. We value excellence in our undergraduate research programs, things like FRI, and these other great programs that exist on campus that give our undergraduate students access to research opportunities. And clearly we value excellence in graduate education. We're putting a lot of departmental resources to that. We'll talk more about that. And so, some of the things we're doing here, we now have Erin Dolan on campus with the TIDES organization. She'll be giving an MBS seminar next week. And as we try to further integrate her expertise into MBS. Some other things that we value. Well, think we all clearly value an interactive, innovative, and highly motivated faculty. This kind of goes without saying. We value the highest scientific and professional standards, and we value all the scientific interactions that we have with our colleagues, and we put a heck of a lot of effort and resources into these things. And these, again, probably not a complete list, but you think about our MBS and ICD seminar series, the special lectures that we have through the year, Gottlieb System Memorials, the ICD retreat, the MBS retreat, which is happening this coming Saturday, the CID symposium, which happened a couple weeks ago, and then the several faculty organized research meetings that are happening. Tom is organizing this faculty discussion group for quite a few years now. The RNA and DNA Club has now gotten some new momentum. And many CSSD and CID organized research interactions. And so these are things we value and we put our money where our mouth is when it comes to these things. And we'll talk about that also in a second. Okay. I think we also value transparency in all of these areas here as a group. And we need to work on some of these still, but I think we've made a lot of progress. And opening up the process here so that faculty are aware of what's going on here in terms of budgetary decisions. We're going to talk a little bit about budgetary things in a second. And opening up the budget entirely is going to be a subject of an upcoming faculty meeting. Just the only reason it hasn't happened yet is because we're still trying to get the clearest picture possible so that everything is open and accurate in those discussions. I think we evaluate transparency in our evaluation processes, teaching evaluations, faculty annual reviews, those kind of things. Teaching workload assignments, how that is done. Transparency in how resources are distributed. Again, we still have some work to do in these areas, and of course, transparency in how the hiring and promotion and tenure process occurs. And it's also important to say that we need to be much more proactive in this area. I think we'll value equal opportunity, diversity in faculty and student recruiting, but we've got to be a lot more proactive in this area going forward. Okay, so I just want to highlight some of the strengths of MBS, and took these straight out of the external review. Okay? Academic excellence and enthusiasm of our faculty and students, the breadth of our research programs, can't deny the breadth. Strength of our graduate programs, CMD, Biochem, Micro, and the importance of these centers like CSSB, CID, CCDD, which are composed, especially the first two, composed primarily of MBS faculty members that foster important scientific collaborations and training opportunities for students and faculty. Okay, so current challenges, again, straight from the external review. Continued repercussions from the merger. We'll talk about at least one issue from that, although I think things have gotten a lot better here as time goes on, as we try to work through some of those issues as a result of the merger. Administrative infrastructure was highlighted as a problem area in the external review. I think we made pretty good progress in that area, thanks to, especially to Andreas's work, but we still have work to do there. Developing a strategic plan for faculty hiring was a challenge cited by the external reviewers. We'll talk about that. Relationship with teaching and research missions, and our relationship with the non-tenure track faculty. We've made some steps in addressing this issue with adopting a policy for affiliation of non-tenure track faculty with MBS to make them feel more a part of our operations. And then clearly one of our biggest challenges is developing the relationship between MBS and the medical school. Okay, so these are the kind of things I want to highlight today. I think it's hard to think about the vision without having a view of the resources available to get things done. So I'm going to give you the very briefest overview of the MBS budget situation, so you know where we stand there. I want to address this issue of internal structure within MBS, which was something again brought up by the external reviewers, and which has been already a topic of discussion in MBS. Faculty recruiting priorities and relationships to medical school. Okay, quick 4-slide summary of the budget. These are things that are money coming from the college. These are things that we don't really think about on a day-to-day basis. This is salaries, basically tenure track salaries, non-tenure track salaries, TA, yada. So very little wiggle room here for us in terms of making strategic decisions. This is from the college. Only small thing here is M&O, $56,000. That's keeping the photocopiers working and things like that. Okay, and then this is clearly the more important stuff, where the money that we can use to make plans, to decide what our priorities are and what we can do about it. So we got two pools of money. You got money from endowments, and we'll talk a little more in detail on that. The payouts from our endowments that we have in the US for 2014 between $900 and almost $1 million in payouts from endowments. Indirect cost returns to MBS, when all is said and done, about $170,000. And that's what we got to play with, to decide what our priorities are as a department. So we're going to start this. So a few more words on indirect costs, just so you know how that money trickles down to $170,000. This is the total indirect costs generated by MBS TIs. $5.7 million. You pat yourselves on the back for that. That's pretty amazing. University, what it comes down to the college is 25% of that. Right. $1.4 million. And my understanding is half of that would go typically downward. Right? And which would be $700,000. But you see what we're ending up with here, about $170,000. Okay, so what's happening there? Right? So this is after our commitments to a lot of different things, like ICD getting a cut of the indirect costs. 1 or 2 retentions on this protein crystallography facility, a little bit, some to CSSB, et cetera. Right? So that's what we end up with here. Feel free to ask questions.
So basically there's about 3.5 so then coming down to 170, and so that's about I'm not going to split on there. Is that the way it's calculated?
I didn't catch it.
So I'm subtracting, 1.5 from 5.7 gives you, 4. And
so 75.
University. We only got a
75% is at the university level. Right? The college only gets 25%. And from that 25%, calculations are done to get that end us up here. Right? Accurate?
And who does those calculations? How's that decision made?
The person, I understand, the person who's got the best handle on those calculations is Dean.
I can answer the questions. The calculation is done as standard university policy that 75% of all indirect cost returns are kept centrally and 25% is distributed to the colleges. And then the college's policy is to return 50%, generally speaking, although there are special arrangements that have been made, 50% to the departments or the senators, which grant as well. And that's called policy.
But the calculations, in our case, get a little bit complicated in terms of ICD, if you're an ICD member, if you're an ICD in MPD, the actual building, different indirect cost return, all those things end up affecting that bottom line. And this will vary year to year, and things will come on and off of there in terms of retentions. This is the broadest view of the MBS endowment. This is that total number of $990,000 payout from the current year, for example. And you can see how this is broken down into 3 broad categories here. Chairs and professorships, $478,000. program support, which is the broadest use money. Sometimes some people call it excellence funds, right? Things you can pretty much use for almost any purpose. Although they may come with some stipulations, in other words, microbiology, biochemistry, something like that, but generally broadly useful for different purposes within whatever the language is endowment is. And then student support. And that's kind of how it's distributed. Yeah. And now this number here does not include some chairs that are held outside of the department. So there are some endowed chairs that are held in the college, right? So that wouldn't show up in this number. Okay, now, what do we do with all that money? And this is the broadest, simplest, look the big items here. Right? We're not getting into the weeds here. Just looking at the big costs. What are our annual commitments for that we use this money for? And this tells you how much we value our graduate programs right there. And what is that money being used for? We'll talk about this in more detail at the faculty meeting, but that is in large part the contribution of MBS to those first year fellowships in microbiology and the microbiology graduate programs and biochemistry. So next year, for example, will be 6 of those first year fellowships that are covered by MBS. Plus, all the usual costs. So I think I don't have a number, actually, specific number off the top of my head, but you're talking about 45K maybe for that one first year fellowship, and we got another 6 of those. Okay. That's a lot of money. Okay. That tells you what we, that's where we decided to put our money. Things like summer salary commitments for junior faculty, okay, part of their recruitment packages. And those things are coming and go, that will vary over years. Retention packages. A little bit of bridge funding going on. That's another 100K from our flexible money. Seminars. This is probably a low, I think you could argue that every number up here is a little bit low. Okay. Probably that one is for sure, that 90K figure. That Andreas wants to chime in here on his investment. But that is a lot of money for a seminar series. Okay? So, we've kind of gone this year, for the most part, from 3 seminars per week, which we had microbiochem, what used to be MCDB, right? We've kind of gone, for the most part, down to 2 seminars per week. It's also balanced by all the faculty recruiting events that we've had going on. Okay? So when you think about, can we value it? It's important. That's how much we value it. Okay? Taking a big chunk of our money. And then you have to think about, we've got these 5 faculty researchers going on now. Some of those, not all of those, but these junior ones are going to require some commitment from MBS in terms of summer salary support, some contribution to those packages, and that's a number that I kind of pulled out more or less thin. But anyway, you add that up, and that's, that's a lot of money. These are only the big things. There's a lot of other things that happen on a day-to-day basis that the department has to cover. So, having said all that, I guess my current view on the budget is that we're generally okay, but it is under pressure. I will say that also those numbers that I've been showing you are current, are payouts, right, for the 2014, the indirect cost return for 2014. Now, to tell the total truth, our balances are higher than that, okay, because of historic things, some we won't go into, but the balances are higher than what we have there. But it will, again, the future factors will show what all those balances are, how to deal with those balances. You don't want to be going out and having a big party in 1 year and burning through those balances necessarily. So there's got to be some strategic decisions on what we want to do, require faculty input and discussion and transparency in this process. You don't want me or some other external chair candidate making that decision, I think, on their own. Okay, so I think our budget is generally okay, but it is, it's under pressure. I think MBS can be expected to be able to achieve our current priorities with respect to faculty recruiting and graduate program support. A big topic of discussion this year has been what was known as GSII, or now known as the Provost Graduate Excellence Fellowship Program. Right? Been a lot of discussion on what the cost is going to be for that program in the long run, and still is some moving parts there that make it difficult to know exactly what our commitments are going to be there. But so that's kind of my quick overview of the budget, so you know what we have to work with and what's kind of being useful now. Any questions there? Does anyone say anything?
You want to get a raise?
You get a raise. Okay, Bruce.
How do we negotiate with college for, is this basically set by the college as a fixed situation, or is there any discretion at that level, to increase on it?
Well, not sure what the college can do for us there. They obviously can't, in terms of, we have expenses, we have our endowment payouts, because shifting the burden, I guess, is what you're talking about. Maybe some of those expenses.
Is that ever, there's no negotiations in that area? I mean, I'm just asking this as a general question. Perhaps this is set as a standard in but
This isn't the right forum, I think, for me to jump in. So I'm not going to
Okay.
say anything, because
Okay.
it's not, this is John's vision statement, it's not a conversation. We haven't had that conversation when I come back to the meeting, but
Yeah.
it's not the right forum.
Yeah, I should also point that Linda will be attending a faculty meeting in the very near future. We'll be answering a lot of questions that people have. Okay, so one of the things I want to talk about is this issue of internal structure within MBS, which has been, we talked about it briefly in faculty meetings. It was brought up in the external review. I think the external reviewers were generally looked upon that favorably, the idea of internal structure. So I want to talk about that. And remember, maybe a month or so ago, we had a faculty meeting. It just wasn't a vote; it was just a show of hands what the general support was or not for internal structure, making some kind of subdivisions within MBS, and there was general support for that. So I think we got to talk about that. We got to consider that and think about what the function of any such subdivisions or subgroups would be. Okay? So what would be the purpose of this? And it's taken me a while to come around to this. At the beginning of MBS, I was one that was pretty against the idea of internal structure. And I guess, why was I against that? I guess I was reacting to the idea that people needed a group in order to voice their opinion. I think we all have our voices here. I don't think we need a subgroup in order to voice our opinions. We're all pretty good at voicing opinions without being in a little group. Okay? So why have I come around to it? The way I look at this, if this is going to happen, from a chair's perspective, I look at it is this allows the department chair to delegate responsibilities to those subgroups. In other words, I would look at this as, I'm not giving you a voice, I'm asking you to do work in your specific chosen subgroup area, right? Because there's a lot that needs to be done. A lot of it doesn't have to be done by the chair, and a lot of issues can be better addressed by experts in given subfields as those issues arise. Okay. So some of those responsibilities, as I see them, are to show some leadership in faculty recruiting. This doesn't mean that search committees would only be from within a given group. That doesn't mean that these groups would have voting power on who gets hired. These would be advisory to the chair, as well as advisory to the entire department. So leadership in faculty recruiting, curriculum support and development, thinking about, when you think about those 6 undergraduate majors that we've got to cover, let's get some input from these groups that want to organize in terms of innovative thoughts and ways to improve all of those undergraduate majors, continue to work at making them better. These subgroups could also be a point for organizing and facilitating junior faculty mentoring and support in those areas. Also, origination points in addition to centers and such for the application for external funding, like training grants, program projects. You got your group. I would ask, what are you guys doing to facilitate training grants in your area, right? Maybe not assigning work, but expecting to get something out, right, other than complaints. These groups could also serve as a source for outreach and identification of development needs. Right? These are all things that require work and thought. And maybe, this would be represent an alteration of the governance policy, but maybe you could imagine that there would be representation from these groups that would make up this MBS advisory committee, but that would just require changing governance document. So, how many divisions would be appropriate? We need to talk about that. I think the danger here is slipping back into the same groups that existed before the merger, right? Reestablishing old lines. So I think we need to think about how we would do this that would kind of mix it up, how we keep this fresh and interesting and in a helpful process. So how many divisions, identity of divisions, I don't have answers on this. I think these are things that we need to talk about as a larger group. Can an individual be in more than one division? That's always the first thing that comes up. And when I look at it, yeah, you can be in 3 divisions. That means you're going to have 3 times more work, though, right? From my perspective, right? You can be in all of them. 4 or 5, I'm going to be expecting more from you, right? Not just more opinions, more work. And I think it's really important to have regular review of any such division structure. Keep this from being set for the next 15 years, right? Maybe we could think about having a regular review of these for maybe 4 or 5 years. I think what we need to do here also as a group, when we get into the next topic of faculty recruiting, is we've got to get at the forefront of emerging fields when it comes to faculty recruiting. We cannot be playing catch-up 5 or 6 years after the next big thing has already hit, right? So I think when you think about these groups, you've got to be putting it into that, one of these, again, as I put on the first previous slide, is using these as a foundation for faculty recruiting, but yet keeping it, really got to focus on the leading edge.
Can I ask a question?
Yep.
So you mentioned that it's going to be really important having these, if we have this kind of organization to prevent us from slipping back into our old roles. What do you view as your role as chair would be in kind of facilitating that and preventing that from happening? I think it's a real concern.
Yeah, I think membership and or how you draw these lines You know, you think, look what's up there, you know, you're gonna, you know, I think it's hard to imagine any divisions happening here without a micro/infectious disease thing, right? But we gotta, you know, keep it from sliding back into our into groups that are going to perhaps be fighting for resources. Right? We want this to be a positive thing for everybody in the department, not setting this up to battle for resources. I'm not sure if that gets to your question, but don't look satisfied. Try again.
I think I agree with you that that I share that goal as well. I just don't know how you would
Yeah.
imagine going about doing that. That
Yeah.
to me seems to be the biggest challenge
Yeah.
in how to do that.
So I think, you know, I think when we sit down and have that discussion about, you know, maybe after trying to draw lines around these things, maybe our conclusion is going to be, screw it, we should just stay open the way it is, right? So I'm not necessarily advocating that we need to go to this kind of form, but I think something's got to be done to facilitate progress or getting work done in these areas. Right? You know, that's not very clear, but let me put this up because this is my frustration. You know what this is? This is an arcade game called Whack-A-Mole, right? And this is the department chair. These things are popping up and boom, boom, that's all he does, this guy. So there's some things that a chair has to do, can't avoid it, right? And there's other stuff that can be delegated. And, you know, I have to say that I've been, you know, I've learned a heck of a lot in the past 6-7 months here. And many have stepped up and done, when I've really been under pressure, have stepped up and really helped me out here. And that's why I think that's, you know, maybe that's not enough good enough reason to go to a division model. But I think long term, we got to get working in a smooth way. The department chair is spending 90% of his time, his or her time, taking care of the little stuff. It's not gonna be, someone's not gonna be happy. So, any other comments about that? And there's lots of good counterpoints. I mean, I could make my own counter arguments, but it's so not sure if this comes to the point of vision as opposed to what I think it's a problem that needs to be dealt with. I'm not saying that I'm 100% committed to splitting up the department, right? But I think it's something we have to really talk about and think about. Pluses and minuses, because there are dangers going backwards.
So John, just to specifically go back a step, so in your view, if the entire department discusses this and says we don't need divisions,
Yeah.
would you as chair be okay with that and deal with all those back-and-forth issues, or would that be a
Yeah. Well, I think people, somehow there's got to be some, I don't know what the solution is. I mean, maybe it's just me becoming a better delegator, right? Or whoever the chair is going to be, right? I think that absolutely has to happen in some form or another. Maybe you don't need to go to divisions to achieve delegation of responsibility, but you know, we're a huge department and everybody's got to pitch in here because there's just a lot of stuff to do. And so we should be looking at the chair and associate chairs as somebody who's that they are just to take care of everybody's problems as they arise. Anyway, so faculty recruiting. You know, two ways to go about this, obvious ways. You got your focused searches, and I put some areas that are clearly areas of current focus of current searches or searches that will happen in the next next year or so. So we have, of course, these CSSB searches that are ongoing, 2 of those happening now. Infectious diseases is a priority area. Certainly cancer biology with the support of secret money is a focus area for faculty recruiting in the next very foreseeable future. But you know, also, you can't ignore that open searches is what brought most of the people in this room here. Okay? So in the early, especially in the early days of ICMD, right? These were mostly widely advertised searches, the best scientist approach. Okay? And that's what has gotten us, I think, for the most part, to where we are right now today. Now, maybe that's not, I think we can't continue to do that forever. We do have that research portfolio to consider, so it's a balance of these things. Okay. So while this is important, I'm always going to be somewhat advocating for this. Okay. Part of the reason is because I don't think anybody here is smart enough to predict where the next great synergy or collaboration is going to come from. All I know is you put 2 or 3 or 4 fantastic scientists in a room together, things happen. You put 2 or 3 or 4, whatever, plant biologists in a room, just looking at Jeff Chen. It doesn't matter what the area is. Great things don't necessarily happen, right? Just because they're all in the same room, right? So I'm always going to be an advocate for open-mindedness here and attracting the best scientists. So, as you know, our hiring plan, not including this year, but we have certainly the plan over the next 4 years is 2 positions in each year, with one of those positions being an FII. Hired the areas that we just looked at are clearly going to be important. Other areas to look at, maybe in collaboration with jointly with the medical school, with birth defects, developmental biology, etc. So I think, you know, our vision here is to leverage our current opportunities to solidify and expand in our areas of strength, areas of infectious disease, systems, synthetic biology, cancer biology, and really importantly, to really be proactive in trying to recruit at the leading edge of emerging research areas, not being bogged down in trying to fill what are important, but nonetheless specific areas. We got to be proactive about this, promoting recruitment of diversity candidates. I think there's some things happening here that I think we need to institute. Every search committee needs to meet with and take advantage of the resources that are available in the university to promote this issue. It just doesn't happen by accident. We almost got lucky this year, but that hasn't been widely announced yet. But Jon Huibregtse, or one diversity candidate, did withdraw from our search, so that's not going to happen. We almost got lucky there, but we have to make that a priority. Okay, and then the last thing, unfortunately, we can't say a heck of a lot more than what's, I think, up here right now with respect to the medical school. So the vision here is integration of the MBS research programs and affiliated graduate programs with those at the medical school. That's the vision, seamless integration. But that's going to take a lot of work, right? And, as I was talking to graduate students yesterday, at lunch, it was like, it was really interesting because they were looking at me and saying, "What are you? What is a chair of MBS? What do you do?" Like they had no clue. And I'm fine with that because they shouldn't care who I am or what I do. If they're not aware of me, that means we're doing our job almost with respect to a graduate student, right? And So I spent some time, it was kind of fun to explain to them what is ICMB, how is that related to MBS, what are these graduate programs, how is that related to both of those things? What are these centers? God, But as far as the graduate students go, I think we're doing a good job if they're not aware of those things, right? If it's seamless and it's all working well. And that's the long-term goal there, I think, is, other than that, you've got to walk a couple blocks to get there. Hopefully someday there's not going to be any distinction in the eyes of a graduate student, in the eyes of a postdoc, between our research program and what's happening there. Right? That's going to take some time and a lot of effort. Right? And our current challenges, obviously, in this goes without saying, highlighted in external review, et cetera, is uncertainties in the leadership and research priorities. Medical school is evolving on a daily basis, I think. And what we can do now is engage, exert influence where possible to emphasize the priority of molecular biomedical research. We've got to take every opportunity. It's going to take not just the chair, but everybody in the room who has an opportunity to do that. And then, so that's pretty much all I want to say. I'm going to go back to this again, and say that, just emphasize that, in my view, and going back to what the external reviewer said, our strength is the excellence of our faculty and the breadth of our research programs, right? And the way I see this, we are not in MBS going to be the world leader and pick your square, okay? MBS is not going to be the world leader in developmental biology or virology or pick it, right? The point is, when you get a seminar guest in here, when you get a faculty recruit in here, they're going to come in here and say, yeah, you guys aren't world leaders in any of those areas, but you got a world leader in every one of those areas, right? And that we have amazing strength across the board. So I think that's what we got to focus on. Excellent scientists, don't get bogged down in your box. All right, that's all I want to say. So, comments, questions?
So, John, in terms of the faculty recruitment policy, we need to balance breadth versus strength of the areas, because we can keep going for the best of best or whatever, but then that will add to the diversity or add to the diverse disciplines we have already existed. And as you know, we cannot be best on every of those things.
Right.
So somehow, I guess we have to build up, some kind of pillars of the department, and then that will also keep retention of faculty, as well as, for some areas like the training grounds. Because if it's too broad, then it's very difficult to get the training ground.
Yeah, that's true. And so, going back to these smaller groups, if we end up in that model, I think just like centers can be points of origin of those external attempts at fundraising, but so can those. I would envision those smaller groups doing that. That would be part of their work. That would be part of their almost expectation that they're at least trying to cobble something together to make a decent application, get their foot in the door, try to do stuff. Right? But so let me go back to maybe it's not clear, it wasn't clear that in terms of faculty recruiting. We definitely have priority areas, right? And I don't know what the right ratio is, if there is one, of target areas to open searches, and where we are now in ICMB at MBS generally, I'm not sure it could be more than 2 focused for every 1 open, or 3 focused for every 1 open. I don't think it, in any case, would be more open than that. Right? But I think we got to we have to, you know, everybody's different on this, but there's no way that my vision for MBS is to be the world leader in ubiquity and proteasome research.
Okay, you just lost one nugget.
That is the furthest thing from my mind, when it always has been. When I think about faculty, oh my God, it would be great to have someone working on SCF unit with money or something like that. No way. I want somebody doing amazing stuff next to me, right, or across the hall. And I don't care what it's in. That's me. I know that everybody falls somewhere on that spectrum of trying to be advocates for their area. Push away. And I'm not gonna discourage anybody for fighting for their area, what they're interested in, what they think they need to succeed, right? So people can think differently.
Okay, John, soon Linda calls and says you are the overwhelming choice we choose. When you go in and negotiate with her, what are your top priorities for the department? So what do you want to get from the dean with your one chance? Maybe I should have Linda closer to you, so
Yeah.
she's not prepared.
Yeah, I think we have for the departmental research. I think we have a pretty strong hiring plan. Ask for, commitment to that plan, at least over the next 4 years. And I'm not sure that asking for more than that in terms of faculty recruiting is necessarily how big do we want to get. There's going to be people leaving, retiring, and coming back. So in terms of numbers of faculty recruiting, to me that wouldn't be a huge thing, pushing for a lot more slots. And say something.
No, I guess I just want to know what you would ask for.
Yeah.
What do you think the department most needs right
I think one of the things that we talked about at the College Budget Council is more, one of the, in our vision statement there, one of the things was access to emerging technologies. And, a lot of us aging scientists we're not trained, we're not brought up in dealing with large data sets. We need support for that. It was a priority in the College Budget Council, whatever that means, where that money comes from. We've had some discussions of that before. Should it be coming from ICB? And yes, how can we manage that? So it'd be nice to have some commitment in that. Yes.
John, I'm going to ask a question maybe Haley was thinking of, which is different than what Shelley asked, and that is, how would you, so that going and, beating the dean over the head is not an effective way to get resources, because she has a very hard head. Okay, so how do you negotiate with the dean's office and serve as an advocate for your department if you identify something that you want to do for the department does?
How do you negotiate?
Sorry?
What's the question? How
do you serve as an advocate for your department with the dean's office? Not on specific.
now? Stick.
How big
Well,
is
sticks, I just said, sticks don't work for me. That sticks don't work for me, so what is your strategy for negotiation?
common sense, the ability to maintain that vision of what we need to. I'm not going to give you a satisfying answer on that. We are trying to become, as we said on that vision statement, an outstanding department. You want us to be outstanding? This is what you got to do. And you want us to be mediocre? Then you'll withhold resources.
So do you see do you have a vision for sort of, if you could, I know that things are run very democratically, and if we're talking about divisions or whatever, there is a lot of democratic discussion about how it's done, but if you had your vision of how you would, not even necessarily divide things up, but foster interactions that would create successful training grants, create successful PO1s? Is there anything that you would do sort of for the department that would foster that sort of interdisciplinary communication and collaboration that would get us there?
Yeah. Boy, I think all we can, from the chair's perspective, I think the word there is communication, getting people together, getting them together to talk informally and formally about science. But you know, those kind of things that were training grant opportunities that arise, those are going to come from the bottom up, right? I don't think a chair can say, I expect by next October a training grant from you guys in this particular area. It's not going to be useful. But communication, interaction.
But are there things you can do to make it easier for the groups to do that, either administrative support or other kinds of things?
I think administratively, I think we can definitely, I think there is help available both in the college with Jennifer Lyon, and we have a grants and contracts person in MBS. I think those are resources that have obviously would be critical to support those kind of efforts. Michi?
What's your view on centers? So I mean, obviously, we have CSSP,
Yeah.
and I think they're both great things to have, but in the future, is it a good thing? So I know there are other people interested in having centers. It allows us to be nimble and go ahead and departments.
Yeah.
And not try to be, but how would
I'm all for it, because what those represent to me are motivated, organized groups with leaders in place in those areas. And that's what I want, whether you call that a subgroup of MBS or it has a center designation, to me it doesn't matter. I love to see the motivated, self-organized groups
But just group audience of the center doesn't quite work as a center, right? It has to have, I mean, this gets to the question of resources.
Yeah.
And, do you see more centers happening? Is that, do you see that as good? At least that's the question.
You know, so what does creating a center cost us as a department, right? And it depends how it's set up, what the model is, right? And CSSB is costing MBS money in terms of indirect costs return, right? But they're performing a valuable, it's an incredibly valuable service, right? So, you know, and even administratively, right? They're relieving the burden on MBS administrative staff, right? You think about our administrative issues and how we're trying to work and improving them. Well, if CSSB didn't exist and their administrative support, the problems that we would have in MBS would be greater, right? So, you know, it's a slight distribution of resources, but in my view, it's only kind of slight. And I think those self-organized, motivated groups ought to be rewarded to some degree. And in terms of slight redistribution of resources, in terms of priorities and faculty recruiting. I think that's what we're doing now. Not sure, to get to your other aspect of it, you know, how many centers could we tolerate? I'm not sure what the answer to that is. But I don't see that many more motivated, self-organized groups popping up, but I hope there are. Yes?
John, you want to talk a little bit more about the role of the chair in teaching?
Yes. Well, I think, so let's put it this way. I haven't spent a lot of my time so far thinking about that because of the work that Karen's been doing. Karen has educated me immensely in this area. And, there is still, as I said, we made this one effort to incorporate or to at least allow the opportunity to incorporate non-tenure track faculty into our department, but I think that, I'm sure I'm not sure if you approach this about it, so it's kind of, isn't saying much, but I still think there's this disconnect there that we have to continue to work on, integrate those people into our group here, and we learn from each other. We have this discussion, faculty meetings, teaching evaluations, going back and forth. Tenure track faculty evaluating tenure track, all those kind of issues. But anyway, I think one thing we're doing, as I mentioned, we're trying to incorporate Erin Dolan in more closely into our department and take advantage of what she's got to say. And she's already, I just got this email from her today, like Terry and Material and a couple other people are going to go to this teaching workshop in Colorado in June, and she put this all together, and I think those kind of opportunities and initiatives have to be pushed forward. Like that, it's got to be, obviously, it has to be a preparatory teaching department. It is. It's one of the things we clearly value. Anything else? All right, thanks.